Hey everybody, this is Target of Opportunity Murder. I have for you that happened in Anchorage, Alaska, February 1st, 2012. So, this barista is heading to work. He gets there. He goes to unlock the employee door where they have entrance to, and it's unlocked. And he knew the girl that worked there the night before, which would be Samantha Konich, who's 18. And he's like, I know her to be responsible. She's worked here over a month. Like, where is she? Why didn't she lock the door? But mistakes happen. He goes in, and it looks like she had left in the middle of her shift. Like, napkins on the floor, rags out, cups out, everything. And so he makes his way over to the cash register and notices it too is unlocked. And he pulls out the tray where money's supposed to be, and it's missing. So he calls the owner and lets him know that there's been a robbery. Well, Dwayne, Samantha's boyfriend, was supposed to pick her up at 8:30 on February 1st, the night before. So he gets there about 8:30. It's 30 minutes after she was supposed to be done with work, but he got held up at work. So he arrives, and she's nowhere to be found. The lights are out, the shack, everything looks like somebody's closed up and gone. But they had gotten a pretty big fight. She accused him of cheating on her, so he figured maybe she went with friends. She don't want to see me. She got to ride home, whatever. He texts her, and he's like, hey, did you get home okay? Nothing. So he drives over to her house and knocks on the door where she lives with her single father, James, who answers, and he's like, hey, explain the situation. Samantha isn't at work. I know she's mad at me. Is she home? Is she okay? And James is like, she's not here. And so both men go inside. They sit down in the kitchen. They start calling and texting Samantha. Finally, Dwayne's phone lights up saying, clearly indicating that she's still very upset with him, that she went with a couple of friends and needs a few days to clear her mind. Well, James thought that was weird because, first off, they're very close. He's raised her since she was 2. They tell each other everything. Why wouldn't she call him directly and tell him that? So they stay up super late. Early the next morning, still no word from Samantha. The father, James, puts out a missing persons report on his only daughter. And when he tells police that she never came home from Common Grounds, the shack in Anchorage, that's when police put 2 and 2 together, like, well, there was a robbery there. So police went out to the shack. There was no sign of struggle outside or inside, and there is a panic button inside underneath the counter, and that was never pressed. The owner made the footage available, and that's when everybody got the answer. So you see Samantha in there. It takes place about 8 p.m. You see her in there working. She's busy. She's cheerful. Someone approaches the window, orders a drink. She acknowledges them, starts making the drink. As she turns around to hand them their drink, when she's done, she steps back and puts her hands up. And then you see her turn the lights out, walk over to the register, open it up, take cash out, and then appeared to hand it to a guy. And I think it's a male because he's a big, stocky man with a big sweatshirt and big sunglasses. And then you see her hand her the money, turn around, her back's against the window, lean down. She stays there for about a minute, and then she stands up. You see the guy peer inside the window, tie her hands behind her back. He crawls in the window, shuts the window behind him, has a gun in her back, and marches her outside. They get in his truck and leave. So, that's where they saw. So the father reached out to, the FBI got involved and everything like that. He rallied up the support of all the people that lived in Anchorage to go out and look for his daughter, and his efforts were so profound it had attracted major news outlets across the country, and then suddenly his daughter's story had grabbed the national headlines everywhere. So this led to strangers donating thousands of dollars to fund a reward for anyone who has information for Samantha's whereabouts. Nobody calls in, nothing. About February 24th, 3 weeks since Sam has gone missing, Dwayne, her boyfriend, gets a message saying, go to this park, and at this specific sign, there'll be something there for you. So Dwayne and James tell the police about this, and James and Dwayne actually race to the park and beat police by 15 minutes. And on there was a plastic Ziploc bag, had paper inside with Samantha's picture, and a guy holding the newspaper of February 13th. So basically, it was a proof of life photo, so they at least know that as of February 13th, she was still alive. And it's wanting her dad to deposit $30,000 into her bank account. Well, the police advised him to only put half in there, and then they'll watch the banks. And as soon as, they get hits on banks, they'll just drive out there. So every time they got a hit on the bank, police would rush out there, and unfortunately the guy would be gone. He would wear a ski mask and big sunglasses so you could never tell who it was. And in the footage at the shack, it was too grainy, you couldn't even see it. So the account went silent for about a week, and then 3 different ATMs. The person making withdrawals was a man, like I said, and they were from Arizona and then New Mexico and Texas. So authorities would race to him, but again, he would be gone. But there was a break this time. One of the surveillance videos from Texas ATMs, they spotted a car this guy was getting into and left. And they alerted the Texas authorities saying, what kind of car he was driving. So the police end up finding the car parked at a hotel. And they see a man in his 30s come down from the hotel, get in the car, and drive off. So they're looking for any reason to pull him over. And he ends up speeding 2 miles over the speed limit, so police pull him over. He's 34-year-old Israel Keys. So he claims he has nothing to do with her disappearance or anything until they searched his car and found the ski mask, the sunglasses, her cell phone, and her debit card. So they bring him in for questioning and ask him, to tell him. So some of the things that he did were so disturbing to her that they have not been made public. So what we do know is that the night he took her from, he was just going to rob the shack, he said. And once he saw Samantha, he knew he was going to take her too. So he takes her back till they drive around Anchorage for a little bit. He even stops a few times to let her relieve herself. And then he ends up, about midnight, they get back to his house. He ties her up and puts her in his shed and turns music on and tells her not to make a sound, that don't worry, he's just going to get ransom and he'll let her go. So that was in her mind, okay, cool, you're going to call my father. But she tells him, we're very poor, you're not going to get much from him. And he's like, don't worry, people will donate, and that's not a problem. He has a 10-year-old daughter and wife inside, and he goes in, makes sure they're still asleep, and him and his daughter are supposed to take a 2-week vacation to New Orleans cruise the next day. And so he ties her up, and he even gives her cigarettes, he gives her water, everything like that. And he tells police that she was very cooperative, everything like that. But poor girl just thought she was going to be, just follow me and you'll be okay, I'll let you go. Well, that didn't happen. He goes out, he ends up, SAing her, and then he ends up stabbing her in the back and then choking her to death. And then he wrapped her body up in a tarp and put her in the back of the shed and shut it and locked it. And he went on the cruise with his daughter for 2 weeks, got back. And when he got back, he said he unwrapped her and she still looked kind of alive. So he sewed her eyelids so it looked like her eyes were open. So he sewed them up. He put makeup on her and dressed her. And that's when he did the photo. Because in the photo, you see, I don't have the photo, but you could Google it. She looks dazed and she's not looking at the camera, she's looking past the camera. And so that was really disturbing. And then after that picture, that was his job to get the ransom, and that was his proof of life photo, like I said. And after that, he ended up dismembering her and then just discarding her pieces. And he ended up, like I said, some things are very disturbing and not been made public, so we don't know all that he did. This poor girl went through, but he said that she was very cooperative and didn't make a sound, and this poor girl knew, so sad. And then he ended up unliving himself in a jail cell. So, but there's a story for you. Hope you guys like it. Be safe, okay?